Hello there, it's great to have you join us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Najat Tijani, and security tops the agenda as the crucial meeting of the National Security Council has ended at the presidential villa. President Muhammadu Buhari summoned the meeting to chart the best way forward in respect of the prevailing security challenges bedeviling the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meeting, which lasted more than 4 hours, was the fourth to be held in the last 6 weeks. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the Ministers of Defense, Interior, Justice, Police and Foreign Affairs, as well as the National Security Advisor attended, as well as the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Defense Intelligence, the Directors General of the Department of State Services and the National Intelligence Agency, as well as other critical stakeholders. Efforts by NTA News to obtain interviews from participants on the resolutions adopted at the strategic engagement were unsuccessful. President Buhari last week read a riot act to arsonists, bandits, insurgents, and other criminal elements undermining national security and stability, saying they would be treated in the language they understand. The Chief Whip of the Senate and former Governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, has called for restraint from the masterminds of the insecurity in the southeast, warning that the repetition of the 1967 killings will not be tolerated. A statement by the Chief Whip notes that the insecurity in the southeast region is strange, as Ndiibu is not known for burning homes to punish perceived enemies. He urges perpetrators to rethink their actions and advises them to choose a more righteous path in expressing their grievances. Senator Kalu condemns the killing of security officers and notes that destroying police stations and infrastructure can never be the best path to expressing grievances, as he charges security agencies to be very professional and ensure they are not involved in harassment, molestation and killing of innocent young people in the region. Senator Kalu stresses the importance of national unity and calls for dialogue which has all stakeholders on the table and to be presided by the President. The Senate has passed the bill which seeks to repeal the Nigerian Postal Service and enact the Nigerian Postal Commission. If passed into law, the bill is expected to unbundle the Nigerian Postal Service, expand its services, and separate the service provider from the regulator. It also proposes the establishment of a Nigerian Postal Service microfinance bank. Meanwhile, the Senate has paid tribute to late T.B. Joshua, the founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, as it's observed a minute silence in his honor and those killed by bandits in Kebbi South Senatorial District. Meanwhile, the leadership of the House of Representatives has directed relevant committees to immediately commence an investigation into the suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the investigation is to determine the circumstances of the decision by the federal government to suspend Twitter and the legal authority for the ban. The committees are to invite the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, to brief the House on the the objectives, intent and duration of the suspension. House committees on Justice, Information and Culture, Communications and the Committee on National Security and Intelligence are those mandated to conduct the investigation and report in 10 days. The Speaker also brought to the notice of members a presidential communication seeking the confirmation of the Chief of Army Staff. Political crisis in Mali dominates debates on the security situation in West Africa at the 2021 ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament. NTA Fineface reports.
Would Mali be able to go through...
Central to debate on the political situation in Mali is the case of African leaders using constitutional amendments as a guise to perpetrate their stay in office.
Because out of the military will use the guns, or you go and say there's a referendum, you change your constitution and you give yourself a new mandate. That's a coup by itself.
That if you're not careful, there'll be human rights abuses in that country because there's no legislature to draft laws and approve laws for that country, our colleagues in Mali.
The excuse of the coupists was that there were, social upheaval. But that does not give an excuse to take over power through emotional means.
Members of the ECOWAS Parliament Committee on Political Affairs, Peace and Security, as well as that of Legal Affairs and Human Rights, also disagreed with the position of the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice to administer oath of office on MPs appointed by the military in Mali into the parliament.
So if we are asked to swear in members just because an interpretation from a protocol is saying X, ignoring the fact that parliament in itself is based on the principles of democracy, then we will be challenging ourselves.
We must not allow them to legitimize the situation, and the rights of the people must not be violated.
Members of parliament want stronger regional alliance to address the proliferation of arms into the region, especially from Libya. In Abuja, NTA Fineface, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has elected Abdullah Shahid from the Maldives as president of the 76th session of the General Assembly. Shahid will replace the current president of the General Assembly, Volkan Bozkır of Turkey, in September 2021. NTA Fineface reports.
Abdullah Shahid, the foreign minister of the Maldives, was elected president of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly by secret ballot, in which he defeated his only challenger, Zalmay Rasul of Afghanistan.
Number of votes obtained. His Excellency Abdullah Shahid from Maldives, 143. His Excellency Zalmay Rasul, Afghanistan, 48.
Shahid promised a presidency of hope focused on recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, human rights, gender equality, as well as the protection and conservation of nature.
We approach the 76th session in challenging times. Disease, despair and devastation have characterized the past year. Inequality, injustice and instability have increased. The environment, the ocean, our planet is suffering. But we need to get moving again, rebuild communities, rescue the planet, recover economies. Above all, restore hope.
Shahid's extensive experience in multilateral diplomacy is recognized as pivot for steering the leadership of the United Nations General Assembly to address contemporary global challenges.
I have no doubt that he will lead the General Assembly in a dedicated, transparent and inclusive manner. With his dynamic personality and extensive experience in the UN halls for many years, the General Assembly will surely have a great president and leader during the next session.
I commend him for his selection of hope as the central theme in his vision statement. Coming from a small island developing state, Mr. Shahid will bring unique insights to the 76th session of the General Assembly as we prepare for COP26 in Glasgow in November.
Abdullah Shahid will resume duty as the 76th President of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2021. NTA Fineface, NTA News.
And to environmental matters now. World Ocean Day 2021 highlights the importance of the ocean and a sustainable blue economy rooted in the understanding and respect for ocean biodiversity and the need to halt the spate of pollution occasioned by human activities. In commemorating Ocean Day, the United Nations is reminding the global community of the need to build a connection to the ocean, which is inclusive, innovative, and informed by lessons from the past. NTA Fineface reports.
Covering some 70% of the Earth's surface, the ocean is a major driver of the world's weather and climate and produces at least 50% of the planet's oxygen. The ocean stores more than 90% of heat trapped by greenhouse gases and serves as the lungs of the planet, as well as a major source of food, medicine, and economic activities, providing livelihood support for millions of people and communities occupying thousands of kilometers of coastlines.
More than 3 billion people rely on the ocean for their livelihoods, the vast majority in developing countries. As we strive to recover from COVID-19, let's end our war on nature. This will be critical to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, keeping within reach the 1.5-degree target of the Paris Agreement, and ensuring the health of our oceans for today's and future generations.
World Oceans Day 2021 informs the public of the impact of human actions on the ocean.
Moreover, it is our protector, acting as the world's largest natural carbon sink, helping to stave off the impacts of climate change. Whether it is about protecting a source of income, preserving our planet's biodiversity, or securing protection against climate change, we have no shortage of reasons to protect our ocean.
The theme, The Ocean, Life and Livelihoods, is a call to create a new balance to protect it from pollution and halt the depletion of fish population in the ocean. NTA Fineface, NTA News.
And now we head to a city which has part of the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean to be precise, on its shores. That's Lagos, with Adiola standing by. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Najatu. Good to see you. Oceans are regarded as the lungs of the earth because through marine plants that generate most of the oxygen we breathe. They are also a key source of food, medicine, and economy of nations, particularly coastal communities. As the global community marks World Ocean Day, Jennifer Igwe visited a coastal community in Lagos where their life and livelihood is well connected to the ocean. Over to you, Jennifer.
Studio, as we mark International Ocean Day with the theme Life and Livelihood, we are at a beach in Lagos, when there used to be a popular beach, Abuja, but it is not so popular because of the impact of sea level and erosion that has affected this area.
If you come this beach, we go see coconut, we go sell, carry go school. We go use the money, do transport. But now we say the ocean don't carry the coconut, you don't get any work to do for you again.
Water don't scatter everywhere. The water that ocean don't too much. Don't scatter all the tree finish. Now we now small remain now. The small will remain safe. I don't sure. Maybe the small safe. It can. It's not reach 1 year.
I have with me Dr. Reginald from the Nigerian Institute of Oceanography and Marine Research. Dr. Reginald, what's your expert view on the scenario here?
It is out of wave intensity that all the coconut trees have been pulled down, so that it is the erosion, the rate of erosion has increased. Before, we used to say that the erosion rate was like 15 to 20 meters per year, but now you can clearly see it's more than 25 meters per year. That is why the water is getting close to their homestead, and their livelihood is cut short.
We are sitting at the edge of the shoreline, in fact, almost in front of the houses of people in the community, and yet the water is just virtually sweeping us away. And that is how close the ocean is to the community. So as we mark International Ocean Day, there is need for an urgent intervention in a community like this, Abuja Beach in Lekki, Aja, Lagos. Back to you, studio.
Thank you, Jennifer. Indeed, there's need to really address that situation over there. Moving on now, the process of measuring standards and accurate weight of equipment used to gauge right amount of petroleum products at loading bays will not be compromised. Director, Measure and Weight Department, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment stated this during a visit to Adover PLC depot in Apapa, Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
The team of inspectors from the Measure and Weight Department, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, on arrival at Adover Depot, was received by the management of the company and ushered into the boardroom for briefing on the daily operations in accordance with rules and procedures. While profiling the company's papers to ascertain compliance with the norms of practice, the company received the commendation of the team for keeping updated records. With the paperwork concluded, the team inspected the equipment used at the loading bay to authenticate the accuracy, and the ministry discovered that standards were adhered to.
I saw a certificate that I signed personally to do with a new web bridge that has been constructed by this company. And aside from that, like I said, we've been taking around and we've seen everything the company is doing as it relates our functions as a Department of Waste and Measures.
Management of Adover Depot assured the Measure and Weight Department team of its commitment to uphold rules guiding operations.
As we all know, improvement has no end. So, and I see them more of a partner than a regulator. So, we have had a lot of discussions, and area of improvement have been noted. So, most of the equipment on ground are actually measuring correctly, and we are going to get the feedback from them based on this visit, and if there is reason for improvement, definitely we have to get to improve.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, the Department of Measure and Weight, says the process will be regularly carried out as a way of regulating the sector. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Now let's talk about the wanton destruction of Inec facilities. Until Nigerians realize their stake in the ownership of the country and work towards its development, cases of wanton destruction of national assets fueled by poor sense of belonging will continue to be recorded, much to the detriment of all. This is the sentiment shared by a cross-section of Nigerians in Lagos while condemning the spate of arson and other attacks on Inec facilities across the country. Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
A timeline that began on May 2, 2021 indicates that not less than 18 cases of arson and attacks on offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) spread across 5 southeastern states of Imo, Abia, Ebonyi, Anambra and Enugu, and Akwa Ibom in South Nigeria were recorded. The figure is part of a total of 42 recorded between February 2019 and May 2021, where post-election violence, enters protests and attacks by unknown gunmen led to vandalism of national assets.
And to government in financial terms is very, very huge. We'll be talking in the range of close to possibly 100 billion or thereabouts. Because we are talking about damages and burning of assets.
I don't think burning down national institutions, you overrun police station, you go to INEC office, you burn it down, and these things you are burning down were acquired with public funds.
A worried INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, had at a press conference in Abuja warned the nation about the negative impact of these attacks on the capacity of the Commission to conduct future elections, although President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to give needed support to INEC as it seeks to rebuild and regain lost ground. This intervention is at a huge cost to a nation that's working hard to make ends meet.
I will be willing to make sure we meet all your demands so that no excuse can be given for any failure.
That money probably would have gone into education, probably would have gone into health sector. Because when you have a need, beg, borrow, or steal, you must meet that need.
There's a high probability that these things were not even budgeted for. So that means you'll be talking about extra budgetary expenditure.
The question is, can Nigerians continue to bear the cost of these needless losses? In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
It's time for us to take our first breather. Nationwide will continue thereafter. Please stay with us.
Thanks for staying tuned to NTA. A part of the Federal Secretariat building in Asaba, the Delta State capital, has been destroyed by fire in the early hours of Tuesday. Ifeoma Okafor reports that the NYSC office was the worst hit.
Eyewitnesses who spoke off camera said the fire started in the early hours of the morning. The NYSC State Coordinator's office and other offices were affected badly.
We cannot say precisely what caused it, but all we know was that we got a call that our own office was on fire. The State Coordinator's office, the ICT, and then the branch, the deployment and relocation office, they were badly affected.
Firefighters fought the fire to a standstill, preventing the fire from spreading. The Federal Fire Service Assistant Controller General Zone K, Udom Grandio, said the fire lasted for 1 hour.
It's electrical fire.
So you are confirming to us?
Well confirmed, because it started from AC.
The problem we always have that people leave their equipment on when they are leaving the office. But we advise that once you are leaving, ensure that everything is off. Sometimes even in the secretariat, apart from the security light outside, they should off the inflow, the light coming into the premises.
The Secretariat houses many federal offices in Asaba, Delta State. Ifeoma Okafor, NTA News.
Regular dialogue between security agencies and the civil society is pivotal at this critical time in the life of the nation, as it will help restore lost confidence and trust. This was re-echoed by stakeholders at a conference on rebuilding confidence and trust between the Nigeria Police Force and the public. The interface was organized by the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in partnership with Peace for Africa Initiative. Joseph Otsen reports.
The 2020 NSAS protest represented the climax of public disdain and loss of trust in the Nigerian police force. Stakeholders believe this is making it more difficult for the agency to execute its mandate of protecting lives and property.
Bandits, attacks, terrorism, cyber crime, etc., dominating the Nigerian security landscape created skepticism, doubt, and distrust as to whether the Nigerian police have the capacity and capability to provide adequate protection.
Most of them lose their lives just to make sure that our lives and properties are well protected. The police needs the public, and the public needs the police. The EU and the international community are committed to supporting police reforms.
For the peace advocates, rebuilding confidence and trust will require regular engagement where passion is shared, gray areas addressed, and understanding of each other's role in building a peaceful and secure society takes center stage.
So I think this is a process of peace building whereby the issues are going to be tabled, the causes identified, and then resolutions arrived at or decisions arrived at collectively for implementation so that that confidence will be restored.
The mentality of service as against the mentality of force. It is when this understanding comes in that, of course, you can begin to expect increased productivity and efficiency on their part.
Apart from dialogue, participants hype on building capacity and equipping the police force to withstand the tax before it. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
And still on security, a special unit of female officers has been established by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, to ensure safe schools. The female officers were specially trained in counter-banditry tactics at the NSCDC College, Katsina State. Abdurrahman Abdullahi Jubrila reports.
Females in charge of a firing squad, as it were, set to face intruders at school premises is not just an exercise but a huge task. But they seem prepared for the assignment ahead of them, but fortified by the skills acquired at the NSCDC Training College, Katsina. No accidental discharge, no missing bullet on the targets they boosted. A squad of 104 like minds, same gender, going as civil agro rangers and standing as the rapid response unit of the NSCDC.
At the end, we must come together and actualize the dream. And what is the dream? To make Civil Defense Corps a very reliable, world-class organization that will stand a test of time and will prove to Nigerians that yes, we are justifying our existence.
However, the success of the ladies depends on the intelligence they get from the public, which will serve as a guide in going after the criminals. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila. Now, still on security, a 3-day gender training for sector institutions has opened at the National Defense College, Abuja, as one of the major steps of institutionalizing the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 and Women, Peace and Security Agenda. Ismail Musa reports.
Women from diverse security outfits across Nigeria with one burning issue to tackle: their role in conflict management and peace building.
The UNSCR 1325 recognizes that armed conflict impacts women differently from men and demands protection of women and girls during armed conflict and post-conflict situations. It also recognizes women's role as peace builders and agents of change.
The changing nature of conflicts in recent times has brought out the important roles women are increasingly playing in both conflict management and post-conflict peace building. Gender mainstreaming now occupies a prime place both at the governmental level and within the armed forces of Nigeria.
This particular partnership aims to enhance gender-sensitive security sector operations and foster community dialogue between women affected by conflict and security sector actors.
Creating awareness on gender equality, closing the gap on low representation of women at decision-making levels is the key here. From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And on the political scene, the Action Democratic Party is urging Nigerians to continually pursue the ideals that will further promote peace and a more united country rather than a separatist agenda. The party's national chairman, Yabagi Sani, said this at a media briefing in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
4 years down the ladder as a political party, the ADP believes that the nation's democratic journey is a work in progress that must be supported by all.
Peace is what ADP stands for. Peace is what this country stands for. Peace is what has brought us to where we are today. Peace is what will take us to the promised land.
On FG's suspension of Twitter operations in the country, Yabagi Sani says Nigeria as a sovereign nation must be respected.
Our president is our president. He must be respected while he remains our president. We must not be treated like an ordinary citizen. When we can see a double standard being applied by these organizations.
In another development, the All Progressives Grand Alliance Movement for United Nigeria, at a media briefing in Abuja, says the party needs a more united Nigeria. Addressing each other's concerns and values that hold mutual coexistence, the movement believes may be a solution.
What we need now is to rebuild, renegotiate, revamp, and revalue our government structure.
Ahead of the November 6 Anambra governorship election, the movement is calling on ABGA to critically screen its aspirants towards the emergence of a consensus candidate. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Thank you, Timothy. Now let's join Amina in our Kaduna Network Center for more trending stories.
Jatu, welcome to Kaduna.
The use of technological innovation in post-harvest management has been identified as a springboard to attaining food sufficiency in Nigeria. This came to the fore at a train-the-trainer program organized for extension agents in the Northwest Geopolitical Zone. Yahanus Hassan Barrow has details.
According to findings by researchers, Nigeria loses more than 70% of what it produces annually to poor post-harvest management practices. This has not only affected quantity, but also resulted in quality reduction of the marketed products in the country and international markets. For instance, Nigeria produces about 2.3 million tons of tomato yearly, ranking 14th largest producer in the world and largest in sub-Saharan Africa, yet ranked the highest importer of tomato products. To address these daunting challenges that contribute to a major setback in the agricultural sector and the economy as a whole, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, under the Nigerian Stored Product Research Institute, deemed it fit to avail field soldiers with post-harvest management on all kinds of agricultural produce. Kulisani is among the participants who traveled hundreds of kilometers from Sokoto to gather ideas on post-harvest innovation.
By passing this important information to our rural farmers,
enable us to know the process and the procedure to minimize the loss of products or yield.
It's really going to be actualized to a greater extent, but more really needs to be done.
Agricultural experts are optimistic that such kinds of training is the only way that farmers, alongside all actors within the value chain, will be enlightened on better post-harvest management practices. In Kano, Yahanus Hassan Barrow, NTA News.
A one-day environmentalist forum has been held at Federal University Dutse, Jigawa State, emphasizing the need for everyone to take responsibility in checkmating the adverse effects of desertification in the country. Awal Mohammed Kazawi reports that the event focused on the causes of desertification and benefits of afforestation as part of this year's World Environment Day.
Environment is important to human existence. However, human activities are continuously making the environment inhabitable. In many cases, the people involved in polluting the environment are not aware of the adverse environmental consequences of their actions, and this necessitated raising the environmental awareness of people. The target here, students of the Federal University Dutse, papers presented by scholars dwelt on the need for everyone to plant at least a tree and nurture it to maturity in order to protect the environment.
The environment has suffered a lot of pollutions all over the world, most especially during the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 activities. So this year's event is how do we restore back our ecosystem, which is quite important because we need to create awareness. We need to make sure that people are aware of the condition of the environment and how do we restore back this ecosystem.
And create awareness on the need to protect our environment, and that every citizen is supposed to do so. And the reason being is that we take more from the environment than we give out to it.
Different varieties of trees were planted in the premises of the university. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Najatu in Abuja.
Thank you, Amina. And still on World Environment Day, the FCT Minister, Muhammad Musa Bello, says restoring the ecosystem is of substantial benefit to people, as every sum invested in the restoration is regained in several folds to the society. The minister also made it known that the administration intends to create jobs by engaging youth in the restoration efforts across the 6 area councils. Ifeanyi Izumba reports.
The Abuja Environmental Protection Board, AEPB, in its annual commemoration of World Environment Day, encouraged global awareness and action to protect the environment. FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, represented by the chairman, AEPB, reiterated the administration's dedication to sanction any negative action on regulated felling of trees, animal poaching, within the territory, haphazard mining activities, bush burning, waste dumping, and open defecation.
There is a need to create an ecosystem that enables science and innovation to flourish compatibly. Restoration can be in many ways. For example, through mass planting or by removing pressures on the environment.
Everything, your health, your psychology, your physiology, your everything is connected to the environment.
We are talking about restoring a nation, restoring generations, restoring hope, laughter.
What can we do to restore the ecosystem for the benefit of us and our future generation?
The FCT administration, through its Apex Environmental Agency, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, commenced its Blue Bond project to encourage recycling of waste materials, thereby reducing the quantum of waste that litter the territory. There was symbolic planting of trees by the representative of the minister. Meanwhile, the theme for the 2021 celebration is ecosystem restoration. Ifani Isumba, NTA News.
The World Bank and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture have approved and validated a knowledge management working document for agricultural support projects in Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliu reports that the draft document was presented to relevant key players for validation in Cross River.
Knowledge management is one of the components of the World Bank federal government-funded agricultural project designed to enhance productivity and processing of agricultural produce. The initiative is expected to enhance effectiveness in the implementation of the PILS project in 6 participating states. Aisha Onusi, the knowledge management lead person of the project, said the draft document has been presented to the stakeholders for validation.
But what we want to do with our knowledge management approach is to make sure that all of the experiences, expertise, innovations, solutions, lessons learned, even challenges encountered in the course of implementing this project is adequately documented and stored in a retrievable format.
Communication experts from all the 6 participating states of Kano, Kaduna, Kogi, Enugu, Cross River, Lagos were part of the validation workshop.
Draft PM implementation strategy document has been prepared to guide all the PIUs to successfully implement eligible KF activities in fulfillment of the objectives captured in the PAD. Thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for his agricultural policy that is aimed at ensuring food security and food sustainability in Nigeria.
The project is in line with the Agriculture Promotion Program 2016 to 2020 of the Federal Government Food Production and Security Plan. From Calabar, Musa Baba Aliu, NTA News.
It's time now to join Gabrielle in Port Harcourt for more. Hello, Gabrielle.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. The Minister of Health, Osage Ehanire, has commended the thoughtfulness of the Rivers State Governor in his determination to continue adding value to the health sector. The Minister of Health was speaking during the inauguration of the Modern Child Hospital in Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwe has the details of this report.
The 132-bed space and 50 delivery room mother and child hospital is to provide efficient and effective maternal and child health, as well as prevent maternal and infant mortality. Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, says the initiative is second to none in the country and aligns very much with the vision of the President in providing quality health care to all citizens of the country.
A critical part of what we call the next level agenda of our administration is the pursuit of universal health coverage for all citizens. This includes women and children. This hospital is definitely a very strong contributor to that program.
This specialist hospital, nobody can say, the Qatar cannot say, we are owing a dime, we are finished paying everybody.
The national president of Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Innocent Uja, says the Rivers State government has given priority attention to the health sector and call for adequate maintenance of the facilities. In a related development, the Rivers State government also flagged off the construction of the Dr. Peter Odili Cancer and Cardiovascular Diseases Diagnostic and Treatment Center. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehenere, was the special guest who performed the groundbreaking.
We signed the contract for the sum of 25.9 billion naira. We have released 18.1 billion naira to them. That is 70% of the money.
Former Governor of Rivers State, Dr. Peter Odili, who the hospital is named after, says the honor is exceptional and he's most grateful to God and the governor for acknowledging his contributions towards the development of the state.
How can we thank this governor? All we can say is, may Almighty God, who planted the idea in your head to make you proudly come and commission this thing that we have never seen anywhere before.
In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwe, NTA News.
Anti-government at all levels and key actors in the Nigerian project play their respective roles with sincerity of purpose. Solutions to insecurity in the country may continue to be elusive. That is part of the fallout from the third Nigerian Union of Journalists National Conference with the theme, the media, insecurity and national unity, held in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. A correspondent brings us the story.
This is the Obiwale Conference Hall in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital. Here are members of the Fourth Estate of the REM, comprising veterans, past national officers of the NUJ, members of National Executive Council of the NUJ, and delegates from the 36 states of Nigeria. They have a mission which is set an agenda towards finding enduring solutions to overwhelming security challenges in the country.
We cannot just stay in our quiet corners and begin to throw blames. We must have to come up with workable strategy on how to assist government address these problems.
Chairman of the occasion and senior advocate of Nigeria, OCJ Okocha, urged them to synergize and take the task of overcoming the security challenges in the country as one that must be accomplished. Keynote speaker and governor of Abia State, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu, stated that there can be no better time for journalists to discharge their responsibilities as the watchdog of the society.
The media has a role in turning around this power of negativity and doom hanging over our nation today.
Host, Governor Nyesom Wike, inducted into the Union's Integrity Hall of Fame, was represented by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Ikbalibo Hari Banigo.
The unity of our country being threatened as a result of self-destructive tendencies like ethnic chauvinism, religious intolerance, raising disregard for the rule of law of the federal government of Nigeria seems to be fanning the embers of disunity through its perceived actions and inactions.
Representative of the Minister of Information and Culture, the Zonal Director of Nigerian Television Authority, Port Harcourt Network Center, and other heads of media associations, intervention to the discourse centered on exercising the principle of collective responsibility and ensuring that the country surmounts the myriads of insecurity challenges it is presently confronted with.
A critical question you can ask yourself when you want to put your pen to paper or when you want to broadcast is, will this material hurt my neighbor? Will it endanger the community? When we begin to ask ourselves the critical questions, the challenge or the responsibility will now be to write for the unity of Nigeria.
The three-day conference, which ends on Wednesday, is expected to galvanize ideas that will assist in changing the insecurity narrative of the nation.
That's our beat from Port Harcourt. Nationwide continues after the break.
It's nice to know you're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. And now we'll join Frama in our Jos Network Center for more reports. Hello, Frama.
Hello, Najatu. Good to have you join us here. More than 60,000 citizens of Plateau State are to benefit from the 8 billion naira World Bank Finance Program of the COVID-19 Action Economic Stimulus Program for Result, initiated by the federal government. This was at the inauguration of members of State Steering Committee for the implementation of the program. Priscilla Gumnan reports.
The 8 billion naira World Bank financed program to be accessed by the federal government for Plateau State is aimed at addressing the negative consequences posed by COVID-19. For the government of the state, the initiative is commendable as its citizens will soon heave a sigh of relief from the socio-economic downturn witnessed as a result of the pandemic.
Optimistic that the Plateau Gas program will have tremendous impact on the state's economy, thereby creating new jobs, stabilizing our revenues and improving food security in the country. You must justify the confidence we have reposed in you by delivering on the set targets to qualify the state for timely disbursement from the World Bank.
To demonstrate its commitment towards the success of the program, government has secured offices for the takeoff of the program with spelled out references.
To provide oversight and policy guidelines for the implementation of the program in accordance with the operations manual. To meet quarterly, 6 times in a year, to consider issues affecting the CARES program in the state as may be brought before it by the state CARES coordinating units.
We have pledged to work hard and to do the state proud by carrying out our responsibilities as far as this program is concerned.
Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Peace-building experts in Jos are advocating increased participation of rural communities towards strengthening peace process in the state. India and Abuja has details.
The forum, which drew participants from communities that have in recent time been faced with security challenges and peace-building experts to brainstorm on ways to strengthen and decentralize the role of Plateau State Peace-Building Agency at the state and local government levels towards expanding the frontiers of peace-building process.
Punishing those who have been found wanting, exposing those people who are within us, but people keep quiet because of being my tribe, being my religion, and that will not help us at all.
We need to really get down to those zones of conflict and engage stakeholders and transform lives.
Other discussants call for promotion and protection of human rights, strengthening of justice system and inclusiveness, as well as building trust.
It means that we are having a roadmap that will help us to really step it down to the lowest person in the various communities.
If they continue like this, peace will be achieved.
By the time we take this to the grassroots, that is where the action is. That is where the need for sensitization, for follow-ups is.
Having peace agents at the grassroots level, these key players say, will help drive the peace process in the state. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abuja, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. It's back to you, Najat.
Rama. And now to sports. Nigerians charge Super Eagles to win the second leg of the friendlies with indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Details with Olumide Guntola.
Football-loving Nigerians have charged the Super Eagles of Nigeria to put up a brilliant performance against their Cameroonian counterparts in the ongoing return leg of the international friendly match. The Eagles lost 0-1 in Austria.
Gerard must ensure that the form that our players have that gave them so much laurels in Europe is translated well for our national team.
And he has to do everything humanly possible this evening to make sure that he redeemed his image.
These matches are made to test some players who could not play so much. The most important is not the result. The most important is to progress.
In the Nigerian Professional Football League, Week 26 actions resume midweek, when table toppers Kano Pillars take the game to Rivers United, while Jigawa Golden Stars will lock arms with Wiki Tourists among other matches. In tennis, an indigent ball Kandela Awal as a match champion of the first edition of the Nigerian Champions Giving Back NCGB tennis tournament organized by Nigeria former #1 Jonathan Igbenovia. He outclassed Oseni Ayola in the 14 and under boys category, while Ndidi Osaji won the female final. In an all Osaji's final, she defeated her elder sister Tochi Osaji in 2 straight sets, 10-3, 10-3, to emerge the new 14 and under champion.
The country just need a structure, a system. It's not about what we're doing wrong, it's about what we have to do to improve ourselves.
With a lot of efforts, I am very sure we can achieve it. It's very difficult, but it's achievable.
In volleyball, Akwa Ibom players have started build-up training sessions at the constructed beach volleyball court in Uyo, ahead of the Honorable Famous Under-21 Boys and Girls Beach Volleyball Championship, slated for the 10th to 12th of June 2021.
The idea for it is to catch the young kids, to develop them, #1, and then to put them in the light.
24 male and female players from the 6 states of the South region and 14 male and female players from various clubs and volleyball academies in the zone are expected to participate in the championship. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
On that note, we conclude Nationwide. Thanks for watching. Do keep remembering to stand with the NTA against rape and rapists. I'm Naja Atitijani. See you next time.